Welcome to this week's episode of the Author Collaborative. As always, I'll be talking to an author whose book I have recently read and enjoyed. And my guest for this week is somebody who's coming on the show for the fifth time. And she, in her own words, is a veteran on the show. And I'm very excited to talk to her today. In fact, very excited for I think I'm the most excited for this episode with her because this is the first time she has come out with a non-fiction book, and I have read her fiction books before. This is the first time that I've read non-fiction by her, and I really enjoyed that as well. So I'm excited to understand from her how she went from fiction to non-fiction and what was her experience like, and what are some tips and tricks that she can share about that with us. So my guest for today is Smita Das Jain. She should be here in a few minutes. Hi Nilshri, thank you for joining. My guest for today should be here in a while, and we'll begin the episode soon. Yes, Smita is already here. Let me add her to the live. Let's see. Did you receive it? Can you let me know in the comments? I don't think it went through. Okay, I sent you a fresh one.
I think I'm there now. Yes.
Yes, awesome. And I'm glad it happened without any glitches, and we are able to see both of each other. So both are
Yes.
visible to each other. And I was just telling everyone, very excited to have you on the show for the fifth time.
I am equally excited to be here, Manali. Yes, is it fifth time
Fifth time already.
already? I
Yes,
mean, yeah, time flies.
yes.
I think the first time I came on a live with you, I had all black hair. Now I can see strands of
I
gray in
also
my
have.
hair.
It's okay. I also have. It's fine. We
Yeah,
are both aging, so it's fine.
we are
It,
evolving. I like to call it
yes,
that.
yes, we are evolving and we are growing actually as writers also. So that's another plus
Yes.
to both of us.
Okay. So how are you? Hope all
I
is
am
great with you.
good. Very, very good, and very excited to talk to you about your latest book. Before we do that, can you briefly introduce yourself to the audience first?
Okay. Hi. So I am Smita. I am a corporate opt-out turned executive and life coach by profession. I coach mid-career and senior professionals to grow or reinvent in their careers. By passion, I am a writer. I write every day something that I've been maintaining for the last 4.5 years now, and that gives me happiness. So I have authored 5 books. Previous to Leading with Words, all my books are fiction. This is my debut non-fiction, Leading with Words, and we are going to talk about it today. Outside writing and coaching, I'm also a speaker and I write guest columns on a lot of subjects for a lot of publications around the globe. And I'm a mother to a 15-year-old girl.
Yes. And on that note, here is the book that we are going to talk about. I'm sure you have the paperback. Please show it to everyone.
Yes.
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 Smita's debut non-fiction, but her fifth book overall, and she has. I'm just going to talk a bit about my experience of reading the book. So I am always fascinated by this combination of self-help and fiction, which is what you have done. I have read maybe just one or two books in the same category before, and I find this very creative because I am somebody who reads very little nonfiction and especially very little self-help books. I am somebody who believes that you learn out of your own experiences, and this is something that doesn't bode well with me, the self-help section. But when it is combined with fiction and you give it to me in a nice manner, wrapped like this, the way you have done, I enjoy reading it because I also like to. I'm also somebody who is very curious to learn about new things, curious to learn from other people's experiences, and that's what you have done. You have mashed up your experience of being a coach and then also your expertise as a fiction writer. You have combined that into one genre, one book, and which comes across really well. And I did not even once feel that I was reading a self-help book because it's not preachy, because it's coming from you and the characters that you have chosen to write about, even though they are fictional. I can see that a bit of you is there in all of them. From your stages of life, you have taken some bits of yourself in them, and they are speaking through your experiences. So that's
Hmm.
something that shines through very well. So
Thank
kudos to
you.
that.
Thank you so much, Manali. I'm so glad that you said that. And that was my intention. I didn't want to write a preachy book. There are enough such books out there. And I've learned I mean, through my fiction writing expertise only, I know people react to emotions. So that is what I have tried to fuse here. And like you, others have told me that this is very, very relatable. It
Yeah.
is free of jargons. And I'm so, so happy that, I know that as a writer, I have succeeded because it was my toughest book to write to date. That I can assure you. So yeah, I'm glad that I've
I'm
succeeded.
sure it was tough because I also think that talking about your experiences and combining it with facts and data related to your experience becomes tougher because you are trying not to come off as a snobbish person that I know everything, I'm here to preach you, and that doesn't come in your writing in this book, which is something that it's difficult to achieve because it's difficult to let go of that part of your life where you have been in a situation and you are trying to tell someone that you know better, but not trying to sound arrogant also while doing so.
Yes. So yeah, I mean, I always believe that your influence depends on the extent to the extent you can make others feel valued.
Yeah,
And if you are arrogant, you are preachy, you are just showing your superiority to others. You are not
exactly.
making them feel valued. They won't feel like listening to you. So that does not work. That's,
Exactly.
as I said, there's a lot that I've given to this book thinking about all of that. So yeah.
So, on that note, I'm just going to quickly read out a few passages from the book. And since we are talking about how you have creatively combined fiction and self help, I'm going to read out a few passages from the first chapter, which is the prologue itself. And we see the characters that we are going to read about in the entire book in this prologue itself.
Hmm.
So, they are at a retreat and the characters are talking amongst each other. One of them is a senior management person, and the other one has just been, given a senior position role, and he's struggling with how to cope with it. So this is how it goes. And the third person is also there, who's in HR, and she's like a bridge between the two. So this is how the conversation goes. Seeing the two men together, Priya's mind buzzed with possibilities. In Karthik, she saw not just a CEO, but a mentor and guide whose insights could pave Rajesh's path to leadership success. And in Rajesh, she saw not just a newcomer to the role, but a budding leader on the cusp of greatness, a diamond in the rough, waiting to be polished and refined. This chance encounter presented an excellent opportunity for Rajesh to seek informal insights and guidance from their organization's best leader, Karthik. I am in the company of two men who aren't talking. This is a first for me, she said, breaking through each man's reverie. Karthik shifted his attention from the surroundings to his colleagues. Guilty as charged. I didn't notice either of you, he admitted with a smile. I don't blame you. The place is so beautiful, Priya gushed. Isn't it, Rajesh? Yes, it is, Rajesh said, for lack of better words. How are you doing, Rajesh? Karthik asked. It's the first time I'm meeting you after you have taken over your new role. I'm fine, thank you, Karthik. Rajesh replied, slightly awed at this unstructured one on one interaction with the leader he admired. Rajesh is discovering the learning curve entailed in leading people effectively. Priya jumped in. Why don't you share your insights with him, Karthik? I'm sure it would help. Wouldn't it, Rajesh? I don't want to trouble him too much, Rajesh fluttered, surprised. Karthik walked closer to Rajesh and patted his shoulder. It would be no trouble at all. I'm here to help you do better in your role. Why don't we sit on the wooden bench below the banyan tree? You can ask me anything you want, shall we? Rajesh nodded, at a loss for words at his good fortune. Priya smiled. The retreat was a success even before it had officially begun. The atmosphere crackled with anticipation as the trio settled down on the bench.
Hmm. Yes. Doesn't that give a very, very fiction vibe?
Exactly. And that is why I was like, let's not get straight into the heavy stuff where uh, Karthik is sharing with Rajesh all the experience that he has related to leadership. Let's not go there. Let's give people the characters first when where we are introducing what is going to happen.
Hmm. Yes. So yeah, I mean that was the beginning. For this book, the chapters were in the order. Like I constructed the table of contents first. And
Hmm.
each chapter was written in that order only. So, very unlike my style. For my fiction, I go completely spontaneous. This one was very, very planned, as in I knew before I started writing what I would be writing. So,
Yeah.
yeah, very different experience for me. But yeah, before we speak about it, Manali, let's talk about, and I know you call it fitment, but I always prefer to call it by the full name. My jeans fit well, and the ice cream didn't melt. That was quite a handful when I came through the,
And yes.
the yeah, I know that is easy, but I still prefer the full name. And the first time I saw the cover and then I read about it. I mean, before I read the book, I read about the book, and it reminded me of my debut, A Slice of Life, which was a series of fictionalized story from everyday life moments.
Hmm.
So here you have actually taken those everyday life moments, framed that into a reflection, used illustrations, and return this book. Should I say return this book or illustrated this book or drew this book? I don't know because I think it's equal effect. But and let me, so I have the paperback here. Let me
Yes.
show the audience. And this is the first time I have read such a book. So non-fiction, of course, there are a lot of memoirs. Memoir is nothing but a reflection, but a part of your life. But this is like a book entirely on reflections from A to Z. So that is something very unique. I haven't seen that elsewhere. So kudos to you. But every time, one, I always wonder how come you write so much. I think in a year you come up with multiple books. And second, then, the concept is different each time. So at least the last three, four books I have read. So I don't know how that mind of yours, thinks about all that. But kudos to you for that.
I
And
think you and the other guests who come on the show, they have been a huge part of the inspiration behind the books that I come out with. So yeah, the show itself is a big inspiration and motivation for me.
okay, great. So let me actually read. I will pick up the reflection O simply because I
Okay.
think that alphabet is neglected quite a lot. So I just picked
Oh
that alphabet.
yes. Yeah.
And
Okay.
it's page 86 on paperback. I don't know where it is on Kindle, but
I think
yeah,
yeah.
uh,
Okay. Okay.
yeah. So oversized clothes
Oh
and the
yes.
freedom to wear them without getting the stink eye or judgmental looks, which
Yes.
is why it happens mostly at home when I'm unbothered about physical appearance and not expecting any visitors. Sigh. And this is what your illustrative self reads in the chapter. This outfit says I have given up, but in a stylish, confident way because I'm not wearing clothes. I'm wearing freedom. Now, that, by the way, that's a line that resonated a lot with me. Mm. Would I win if they do a most shabbily dressed competition? Hell yeah. Who cares? As long as you win, I would say. So that was the first
Exactly.
reflection about oversized clothes, and I absolutely love it. Let me show it to the audience in the paperback also, because
Thank
I
you.
am glad that I read this book in paperback, honestly, because it is that kind of book. Okay, let me go to the next reflection. Um, Observing people and trying to come up with my version of their life stories. Oh, this is how I conjure my stories as a fiction writer, honestly. So, oh, they make such a lovely couple. That's what the illustration says. I wonder how they met. I bet it's a love marriage, and she was the one who asked him out. She seems like one to break stereotypes. Boy, look at that sexy backless trolley. I would never have the guts to wear that at a wedding. Plotting my next story, or probably just a scene I can put in my next rom-com. Oh, this happens with me all the time when I observe people, things, observe whatever, some or the other idea comes. Now it has started coming naturally. Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, the third reflection. Online orders arriving on or before time and turning out as expected or better than envisaged. Oh, you bet. Didn't I order this like 2 hours ago? Wow, that was quick. I remember reading it will arrive in 5 days. I hope they sent the right thing. Yes, too good to be true. Another thing to add to my imposter syndrome. This is a plot twist better than I could ever write or come up with. Yes. Okay. The next one, one-liners that actually land. Hmm. Well, at least one of us is growing. Oops, I didn't mean to say that out loud. But if you expected me to stay quiet after your you have put on remark, maybe don't say it while offering me another samosa. Yeah. On the menu, samosas with a sprinkling of sass. Yes, anytime. And the last one that I'm reading for here, but definitely not the last one in the book. And I actually love this scene. Let me also see sitting by the window and looking very opening windows and not feeling the cold or pollution overwhelm my senses. Can't wait to open this window later and gaze out while daydreaming instead of working on my book and using the mindless staring as an excuse for inspiration for my content. Oh, that's a good excuse. Mood, window philosopher with zero solutions. I was a zero solutions. You would not have written so many books that you have otherwise and come up with this author collaborative. But yes, so that was about fit melt. My jeans didn't fit and the ice cream didn't melt. Hmm. Okay.
Thank you, thank you, and I'm glad you picked out this particular letter because I don't think any of the guests till now have read this particular any of these five nuggets. So thank you.
My
The audience
pleasure.
also got something new. And we
Mhm.
have LP has joined and Nilshi is laughing. Thank you so much. And Nilshi is also was also saying that she didn't know your book is a combination of self-help and
Oh,
non.
yes, she did say because there were no people in the cover. I would just like to tell her these are meant to be people. Did you feel there are people, Nilshri? So, yeah. But yeah, I'm
Yeah.
glad that you brought that point out and she knows. Hopefully, Nilshri, that inspires you to check out this book because it's for everyone, really. And I'm sure that you will benefit.
Yes, and she also said, yes, it does. About, I think that was about when I was reading out the passages from your book, and when I mentioned that it seems like a fiction book, you also said that from that we can see that this is more of fiction. So she was agreeing to that, and we have a lot of laugh emojis coming out after the reading of the nuggets. Thank you, everyone.
Hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, Manali. So now, yeah, I'm all
Uh,
yours. Please, how do you want to take this forward?
I just have to confess one thing. Yesterday night, after finishing reading the book, I sent you the questions, and very nicely, I have forgotten to write them down. After reminding you also to write it down, I have forgotten to write them down. And for the
Oh,
first time, I don't have my laptop with me. So I'm very like, क्या करूं मैं अब?
क्या
So,
करूँ कुछ नहीं ask me anything that's okay but then okay ask me anything और क्या
oh my God, the rapid fire is also going to be fun. I have completely forgotten the questions, so I don't know how I'm going to manage. But yes, we have to continue the show. Okay, I think my first question was. The gap that you saw between the existing self-help books in this particular genre, subgenre, I would say, and how did you come up with this, idea of filling that gap and focusing only on leadership communication rather than the whole umbrella of, corporate communication or, any job-related communication. So tell us about that.
okay so honestly um I never thought I will write non-fiction because I read non-fiction, of course, but I'm more of a spontaneous writer, and fictions is where I can plug a lot of emotions and give the characters, create the world that I want. But I am a coach, and in a day I meet at least 3 4 people, some new and others who I'm coaching. And on I mean most days it is a lot more than that. Now what happened, like sometime early 2024 last year, I started to see a pattern. First, that every second client who was coming to me as a coach, they were coming for communication challenges. Sometimes it was very upfront that I keep quiet in meetings.
Hmm.
I nobody hears me and I listens to me and I want to change this. And this is across whether they were corporate leaders, they were teachers, they were entrepreneurs having their own ventures, they were lawyers. that was the challenge. Words may be different, but essentially that was the crux. That was one. And second, then there were clients, of course, like who I was coaching. I was coaching on communication, and I had my own framework and techniques. And they were like, okay, Smita, is there a book where we can find this? Because of course coaching ends, the session ends, but when you have a written reference, you can refer it anytime, unlike me, which is an appointment time. And and this was coming quite a lot. So one was my existing set of clients who were asking me, is there any book that you can refer, just like you coach? Very simple, very practical, very doable. We don't want jargons, we want something that we can implement that feels simple. And I actually searched a lot. I really searched a lot. I also found a book which was written by an author in UK called Leadership Communication. And I read the preview that was available on Amazon, the first 2 pages, and I'm like, full of jargons, this won't work. I mean, the book was okay, but it was just jargon and not the kind I was looking for. So I knew there was demand for it. If and I have a lot of clients, and if one in every 2 clients has a communication challenge, then there is demand.
Requirement.
And the second thing was like, even those I coach, there isn't a request for additional reference.
Hmm.
And I'm like, okay, this seems to be a real challenge.
Hmm.
There is no book that exists that I will feel comfortable to refer to my clients and people who ask me. And in general also, I can't coach everyone, but communication is a real challenge.
Hmm.
And so I'm like, okay, I'm an author. So if there is no book I can recommend, let me only write this book.
Yeah.
So that was the genesis, okay, how I came up. So that was like when I had finished the final draft of Till Fate to Us Part, which was early last year, and
Hmm.
given it for publishing. And then I'm like, okay, let me do this.
Hmm.
And when I started to write this one, I was very, very clear that I didn't want jargons, I didn't want framework, I didn't want models, because our mind is cluttered enough. People are overwhelmed in this age of
Hmm.
AI. In
Hmm.
fact, I am as successful as a coach. I am because I keep things simple. Even, I have clients from 12 other countries apart from India.
Hmm.
Everybody tells me what you share with us is so, so simple, yet so profound, but we feel we can do it.
Hmm.
So I know it's very easy to keep things complicated. It's very difficult to make complicated things simple. And I'm like, that is the way I'm going to write this book. So it had to be something simple, something relatable. And then I'm like, okay, if I go by a pure non-fiction format,
Hmm.
I won't be able to do justice to this vision of mine. It will be framework, it will be a load of tools and techniques. And that is when I thought that, okay, let me bring my fiction expertise. That also made the process of writing a bit more enjoyable for me, because I am a more natural fiction writer rather than a natural non-fiction writer. Even though the subject was familiar, but I would rather speak on the subject than write on the subject, honestly. And so that is why I thought about making this relatable. So, the characters, Rajesh, Priya, Karthik, there is even a character who comes later, which you may want to talk about at a later stage. But, all of them are very, very relatable. I wanted readers to not only think,
Hmm.
but also feel about everyday challenges that they experience. So that was my motivation, and that's how I went about it. And then I devised the characters. I brought all my fiction writing expertise and all my, subject matter expertise on leadership and communication
Hmm.
to write a book which I will enjoy reading.
Yeah.
I also write simple things,
Yeah.
essentially. I mean, profound concepts, but explained in a simple manner. And I'm like, I want to write a book that I would enjoy reading and
Hmm.
which I knew people around would enjoy reading, which everyone can relate to. So even if the setting is a corporate background, I wanted a teacher, a lawyer, a doctor, an entrepreneur, a housewife, if they pick it up, they should relate to it. And that's the feedback I am receiving. So yeah, that was the inspiration. It came from my coaching sessions. It came from every session I was getting some or the other questions. Every third session, people were asking me, is there a book you can refer? Now I have the answer. Now I happily say, yeah, this is what I've shared with you. For additional thing, get this book. So it is really, really solving that purpose. Yeah.
Yeah, and something based on what you just shared. I wanted to ask my next question about that only. That how did you manage to mix your expertise in both these fields as a fiction writer and as a coach. What was the challenging bit, and what was the thing that came naturally while mixing up these two?
Okay, so as a fiction writer, Manali, and since I've written 4 books and many, many stories, I claim such some expertise in that field. I have realized that people don't relate to information, they
Hmm.
relate to emotions.
Okay.
Which is why I prefer writing fiction in the first place, because you can infuse a lot of emotions there. Whereas non-fiction, not my non-fiction, but usually non-fictions are very cut and dry.
Yeah.
And so that is where I'm like, okay, I want this book to, to be full of emotions, different emotions. People should feel as if they are reading about their everyday situations, which is shaped into narratives.
Hmm.
So that was the thought. And I went about, and I actually brainstormed how I could go about it. And that is when, one fine day this idea struck, okay, why not tell the entire book in a storytelling format?
Hmm.
And that is when I first drew up. So, when we tell stories, you are an author yourself, in fact, more experienced than me. So, you will understand. We draw character sketches, and then, we think about plot, we think about the setting and background. So, while I knew all the concepts, and in fact, the table of contents is something I had come up with before, which is another difference between how I approach fiction, how I approach this book. Table of contents was the first thing, and it took me a lot of time because I researched a lot. What are the questions people are asking in communication in Google? I went through all my coaching transcripts. There were more than 2,500 coaching conversations. The number keeps on
What
growing every day.
table of contents
Yes.
that, since we are talking about it, so this is
Yes.
the table of contents
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
Smith is talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what I did actually first, that I mean went through all the common questions in communication that I was encountering in my sessions. I would have Googled quite a bit for 3 4 days. Googled, searched on the web, searched on AI. What are the common questions people in India are asking about communication? What are the questions people outside India are asking about communication in the workplace? And then based on that, I jotted down the questions, then I fused it into table of contents. Now this one, the TOC you are seeing in the book, it's condensed. The one that publisher decided, my table of contents was very, very detailed, like each chapter had like subsections and all. Each of the question that you see in the book, that was as a part of table of contents. So that was what I
Oh.
started working with. Now, when I started there, I'm like, okay, but if I go the standard way, then it will be very, very full of jargon and all, which I didn't want. And then I took 3 4 days to think about character, background, setting. So I created like, I think, 3 to 4 different characters,
Hmm.
as in different set of characters, different set of setting, and different, of course, different motivations how to get into this conversation. I wrote the prologue for each of these 4 settings. Okay, so this was like the first time I would have actually worked so hard, not spontaneous at all. So I wrote the prologue for 4 different settings. And then for a week, I kept each one aside. I wrote other stuff.
Hmm.
And then on the 8th or 9th day, I read each of those again as a reader. So I wanted to give space so that
Okay.
as a
Hmm.
reader, I could see which one I could relate with the most. And then I picked this one, which is based on a corporate setting and all, because it resonated with me the most. Perhaps because I come from this background, so you relate most to, you know a lot of other deeper
Hmm.
things because you belong there at one point in time.
Yeah.
And that is when I started writing the chapter. So, but because the characters, the motives, the background was fixed, I knew the motivation why this was happening, because there was an aspiring leader who was struggling. He was being mentored by a leader who was good, who he looked up to, who knew a lot about communication, but even that leader will need outside help at some point in time. So at least the plot points were clear in my mind, the character motivations were clear in my mind. So I knew what dialogues will flow in such a situation based on the table of contents I have. So that was all that fiction writing expertise. The non-fiction was basically the knowledge, because everything was inside. When I was writing the book, I'm like, oh my God, I really know a lot about the subject.
So you had that wow, I'm so awesome moment. I also get that sometimes while I'm writing. Oh my God. Yeah.
No, but this
I,
is the first time because fiction is just spontaneous. Now I write whatever comes to my
yeah.
mind, at least in the first draft. This was the first book which was planned, at least, I mean, I didn't plan it word for word, of course, but I knew before I started writing what the first chapter is going to be, how the book is going to end, which was a first for me. I have never, each of my fiction, I mean, both the short story collection, each of the story in those collection, and both my novels, when I wrote the first line, I didn't know what the plot will be. I
Oh.
didn't know how the book will end, honestly. So,
So this was quite challenging for you. So when you are writing, this is very something very new for me because I plan my books, especially when the long form fiction, I plan it well in advance. I know my endings clearly from the starting. From the prologue itself, I know how the book is going to end. But in between, of course, the characters start to understand. The
yeah.
characters try to behave like they want to. So no control
Yeah,
over
I
that.
know, but I have never decided, not in a single story of mine. Maybe some short stories, but when I read it later, I always prefer the one where I went entirely spontaneous for the first draft. Once the
Okay.
first draft is in place, then I know what is working, what is resonating, what I want to change. But the first draft, I go whole spontaneous. This was the first book where the first draft was planned, and that too till like end detail. But then it was such kind of book, right? When you write on leadership, you write on communication, there is also like statistics and numbers here. So you can't go all unplanned in
Yes.
such kind of book. But then it was a new experience for me. At the end of it, I'm like, oh my God, I don't know when I'm going to write a non-fiction again. It takes like so much of planning.
But no, writing non-fiction made you a planner, a plotter, as against being a pantser with writing fiction. So you have discovered a new side to yourself as a writer. So
Oh,
yeah.
in life, I am a plotter, when we go on vacations, I plan every detail to the T. My husband leaves all the planning to me. My day to day, so I knew today 6 p.m. was this. Every day, every working day, my calendar is planned. Like from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., this is how it's going to be. Somebody actually just wrote a mail half an hour ago before I entered this live that some session recording, can we record a session with you at 3 p.m. on such and on Monday? I am like, the calendar for the entire week is blocked now. Now that's too short a notice. You have to think about the week after. I mean, that is how it is. Honestly, right now my calendar is blocked till January for with something or the other. So that's how it is. It's only in fiction that I am a spontaneous. In life, I'm a very planned person. So
Yeah, but as a writer, you discovered something about yourself that you didn't know for so far. So yeah, oh, I guess win-win everywhere, right?
yeah. Yeah,
And
I know. Okay, now my question for
oh,
fitment. Okay.
I actually have an add-on question to this. Since you were mentioning that the idea for this book, Leading with Words, came to you from your own experiences or as a coach, and when your clients were asking for something, that is written and they can refer to it somewhere, sometime later after the sessions are done. So, when you were writing the book, was that a thought in your mind that this can actually become something that I can provide with my sessions as an add-on itself? Even if the client is not asking for it, I can include this book in the package that I'm providing as a coach. Was that in your
Um,
mind?
Oh, see, to some extent it was, but I never thought that it will be an add-on because
Okay.
the expertise that I bring as a coach is separate, and book writing is hard work. I'm an author, so this may be my debut non-fiction, but this was not my debut book. After writing
Yes.
5 books, when it finished, I knew how much know how much hard work goes into writing a book. So I am like, you want it, I have written it, and anyway, the book comes a lot cheaper than my coaching session. It's not
Oh,
even like 1/10 of the price that my coaching costs, right? So this is a useful reference for you. Uh, I refer. I never give it as an add-on, but I'm telling my clients when questions come that, hey, you asked this question, I coach in the session. If you want to read in more depth or if you want a reference, here is the link to my book. You can go and check it out. I think it will be useful. And then I leave it to them. So the thought never come that it will come as part of my this thing because it took a lot of hard work.
Of course.
And I firmly believe you need to get some worth for your work. This is
Hmm.
an additional benefit. The cost isn't much. If you think it is of value, you will pay for it, and then only you will value it because you have paid money for it. So
Exactly. Yeah. And I'm sorry, while you were answering, another question popped up in my head. But also, was there a fear that, since you are giving it away in the form of a book, was there also a little bit of anxiety or, little bit of fear of losing out on one-on-one clients? Since you have
not
given
at all.
it all away in the book, do you think that people
Not at all.
know?
Not at all. Not at all. See, I have many clients who come to me who tell me that, hey, Smita, we have written a lot of books, we have watched a lot of YouTube videos, now we are confused. This is my problem, we want a solution.
Okay.
A book can never be a substitute for one-on-one coaching because, see, a Manali, a Neil Shri, Abhijit, I'm looking at the names of the people who have joined. Everyone will read the same book. The book is a one size fits all. But
Hmm.
if a Manali comes to me during a session, it's not a one size fits all. So
Hmm.
a Manali may be an introvert. I'm not saying you are. I'm just giving an example. And she may be like, okay, I am not speaking up in meetings as much I want to, or in my gathering with friends, I hold back, and I think because of that, I don't feel confident. Now the thing is, okay, maybe a Smita may have the same problem statement, but Manali may be an extrovert. Smita may be an introvert.
Hmm.
Manali's limiting beliefs may be something else. Smita's limiting beliefs may be something else.
Hmm.
Now, if both of them read the same book,
Hmm.
maybe it's very beneficial for Manali, but it's not beneficial as much for Smita because she's a different personality. But in a one-on-one coaching, whether it's Manali, whether it's Smita, they come to Smita for coaching, it will be beneficial because it will be tailored. So that fear, and clients who have coached, all my clients who I am coaching currently, they have read this book. And everyone has said this is a very useful reference, but nobody has said that, what we get from you, we are also getting from the book. So
Okay.
that fear was never there in my mind. As a coach, I have my own coaches. I really believe in coaching. So in fact, I have like two coaches of mine. And even they have written books and they have their podcasts, they have their YouTubes. I also have my YouTube channel. I also do a LinkedIn live every month. I know that the value I give there is separate, but the value that I'm giving in a one-on-one session is separate, and there is no competition there.
Oh, lovely. Thank you for sharing that. Yes, now the floor is yours.
Okay, so this book of yours, Manali, it celebrates the joys of everyday life, right? And this is something most of us overlook. We always chase those big goals, big ambitions, and in the process, we don't appreciate the small everyday moments. Now, how did the seed of the thought of this book came? What inspired you to capture these moments so intentionally? And how did you decide? I'm sure, like as authors, we all have drafts. So you would have thought of something, you would have edited. There would be a lot more reflections. So, what inspired you? And then, secondly, how did you decide which of those reflections will make the final cut?
Okay, so the concept of the book was soon in my head somewhere around 2020-21. And at that time, so let's begin with my personality type. I think that's very important because I've given a lot of myself in the book. So my personality type is somebody who is, quirky, who's a little silly, and there is a little immaturity in me, as people would say. Some people would say that there as per my age, I'm not behaving my age. That is what the general concept is. And I have a sense of humor that's very spontaneous. That's something that my is a law imbibed in me, and that's the kind of person I am, and that's what started this particular book. And I have always been very active on social media. Previously it was a lot on Facebook, and then I became active on Instagram also. So the idea started from Facebook when I started sharing once or twice a week some silly things in my life that were bringing me happiness. And in fact, they were with the title hashtag silly things that make me happy. And I used to put out one thing weekly or twice a week where, a particular very, very small thing in my day, it changed my mood, or, it helped me get over something that, was. not making me feel very good, or I was disappointed, or I was like probably going down the line of being depressed for the entire day. And then that particular moment, whatever happened, I would share that this particular thing happened and my mood improved, and hashtag silly things that make me happy. And those particular posts, they got very popular. And whenever I used to put them out, at least one or two people would come and say that this is something that we can relate to. This is something that, makes my day also better. If something like this happens with me, I know I will also instantly, my mood will be lifted. And that was very surprising for me, because the I would put out things that were like very silly. For instance, one of the things that I put out was when I was trying out a new dish and I failed in that. And then before anyone could find out that I failed in it, I managed to clear out all the proof that I had even tried making it. So I was like, yay, win. Nobody knows that I lost. So that was one post that got very popular with the women, especially because a lot of us are always experimenting in the kitchen and failing on a regular basis to create something that we want to, but we fail to achieve it. So I said that just get rid of the proof so nobody needs to know. Only you know, and then the next time you make it, you are going to succeed. Hopefully. So those were the
Yes.
kind of posts that I was sharing, and they became popular. And that's where the seed was sown that this can be converted into a book, because a lot of people were liking it. They were also sharing it with other people. They were talking amongst themselves. I also know for a fact that, people are talking about those posts in my absence, because they came back and told me, whatever you put up today, I was discussing it with my friend and we were laughing so much. So that was the kind of motivation, that pushed me, that this can
Mm.
be something bigger than just a Facebook or Instagram post.
Okay.
So that's where the idea came in, and then I took it forward. It took a while for me to take it forward, because my social media game went down the drains a bit in 2020, because I lost back to back two Instagram accounts, and I had a lot of following. I worked hard on the content, and overnight those accounts were lost. So I lost confidence in the content also. And I gave up on the idea of converting those things into a book. But I had started preparing a draft, as you were mentioning, asking me in your question. I had started maintaining a draft of the things that I used to put out, and about 50 of them were already ready. And then I gave up on the idea, and it went into my draft folder. I had forgotten about it completely. And the idea came back to me again as a form of motivation. In fact, on this particular show itself, when I had another guest, and she was asking me, is there something that is lying in your folder that you would wish that you want to explore someday? And immediately my thought went back to this particular book idea. And I was like, I should, because it's high time I write a non-fiction book, and
Mhm.
people know that I'm funny. I'm liked for being funny. People are able to relate to that personality part of me. So yeah, that's when I went back to the drafts. I looked at all the points that I had written, and fortunately, it coincided with a writing challenge that was coming up at that time, which is the A to
Okay.
Z blog chatter
Yeah.
uh, challenge, writing challenge.
Okay.
So I looked through the pointers that I already had, and
Hmm.
I started, dividing them into different letters of the English alphabet. But then I realized that some of them were not fitting, and some of them I would need to be more creative to fit into that format. So I gave up a few of them, like the one that I just mentioned. It's not there in the book. I don't think it is there. But there are a lot of kitchen related nuggets that I have included.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that yes. Okay, so that's interesting. So it's basically social media posts that gave you an idea. Like
Yes.
when you had a thread, you,
Yes.
yeah, this is a good idea. So, now there's a follow-on question. So social media posts, and I also like, I'm pretty regular on social media. So they came very spontaneously,
Yes.
right? You write what you think about, but when you try to give it a structure, I mean, in a book, it's very different. So this entire book, Figment, it's organized alphabetically, right? So it must be when organizing those reflections into a book, it must be quite a challenge to maintain freshness across 150 odd reflections that are there in the book. So, how did you combine structure with spontaneity here?
So the spontaneity actually helped me a lot because I had already some of the nuggets in the drafts folder were already there. So I just had to pick up from where I left and take inspiration from my own thoughts from 5 years back. So that became easier. And I had grown as a person, as a writer in those 5 years. So I think the spontaneity part of me, the the what I'm not. See, this is what happens as writers when you are put on the spot. You are forgetting the word.
Yeah, I know
Yeah,
it happens with me also. It's completely
yeah.
fine. It's okay.
The spontaneity and my wit. Those bits had grown in me as a person because I became a more confident person. I had many books. I had already written 10 books by the time I was conceptualizing this book in the manner that I was putting it together in the form of a book. So that bit helped, and when I started putting out the nuggets that I already had in this particular final draft of the book, I realized that while writing them, a few thoughts were coming up itself. I didn't need to have a particular moment to make me have a bout of inspiration or experience that particular moment. I was able to recall the moments that have already happened in my life, and I was able to add them to the already existing nuggets that I had. And also, of course, when you are a part of a writing challenge, which is where the book was, see, the book saw its second stage. I would like to call it the second stage because the first stage was in 2020 when I had already thought about the idea. So when I was part of the challenge where the book second stage started, I was part of a community where a lot of people were already commenting on the post that I was putting up on my blog as part of the challenge. And their comments were inspiration enough and motivation enough. E- Even those comments gave me a lot of the nuggets that are a part of the book. For instance, one of the nuggets I think is about somebody appreciating my writing, somebody unexpected or somebody that I
Yeah.
admire myself as a writer. That bit actually came up during the part of the challenge because in the comments, I was receiving such positive comments from the bloggers that I admired. They are authors themselves and they are commenting very positive things. So, that's how it happened. The spontaneity
Yeah.
was actually spontaneous.
That is so good to know, and to all of those who are joining us here and who will later watch the replay, please remember your encouragement as a reader means a lot to us as authors. As Manali just explained that comment she got, it actually gave her the confidence, the motivation, the inspiration to include some nuggets of that in her book. And that has happened with me as well. It's your encouragement as readers that keeps us going. So please bring on that encouragement. That's all we ask for as authors.
Yes.
Great. Okay. So now, uh,
Let's
again, I'm glad whatever was the inspiration, motivation that you wrote this book. It's a different book. And I'm glad that I read this in paperback, unlike the previous books of yours, which were all in Kindles.
yes.
So, yes, I think, yeah, that was my questions to you.
Yeah.
Again, how the floor is yours, Manali.
Yes. So now, Smita, we move on to the rapid fire round and we both share the floor equally. We'll do it back and forth. One question I ask and one question you ask. Okay. I have not written down the questions, but fortunately, I remembered some bits of it, so I'm going to frame them on the spot now.
Good.
So, my first
Yes.
question to you is the first thing that you do when you sit down to take a session versus the first thing that you do when you sit down to write something.
Yes. So before I sit down for a session, I take a deep breath and I tell myself, you have to be present and you have to listen. Because the session is about the client, not me. I'm there to guide and listen. But while I write, I tell myself, this is about me. Because
Hmm.
I write something that resonates. And unless I am convinced, unless it resonates, I won't be able to convince others. So that is the thing.
Okay, your turn.
Hmm. So, one reflection from the book that best describes your personality.
So many. Difficult to pick one, so I'm
I
just
know
going.
because this entire book is your personality only.
Yes.
But
I'm just going to randomly pick out a page here. Uh,
hmm.
Oh yeah, this one. Yes, definitely this one. Because I'm also a wanderlust. I love traveling a lot, and there are a lot of travel nuggets throughout the book, but this one describes it best. So this is the one that says getaways to places I've been long waiting to visit or happening just when I needed the break. And then the woman in the illustration, which is of course me, she's saying, I wonder how the view from the mountaintop will be. Gosh, I can't believe I'll finally visit the place I've been watching on YouTube and Instagram for years. Which are the exact thoughts going on in my head when I'm packing or preparing the items.
Ah, I also love traveling, so yeah, I can relate to those sentiments. Exactly my sentiments. Okay, your turn now.
Okay, so I think one of the questions I'm just
It's
I would
okay. Whatever comes to your mind, ask me anything.
yes, so you have placed your book in a particular setting. Tell us if you could choose, what other setting would you have chosen rather than this particular retreat?
Okay. That was easy because I had created four other settings. So I would
I
have
would have.
taken a staff room setting where there are different sort of teachers, males, females, a diversified setting. Some are introverts, some are extroverts, and the extroverts are having their say always. And as a result, a lot of ideas in that school was not getting implemented. So that would have been one of the settings. The other would have been in a medical backdrop. Again,
Mm,
the same thing because so there are like there is a doctor who is brilliant at his job, but he does not articulate well. And
mm.
as a result, beyond a point, he could grow further. And then, the patient interaction also suffers.
Okay.
And so while the internal dynamics didn't motivate him, when he realized his patients are suffering because of his lack of articulation, he goes all out and improves his communication so that he's able to serve his patients better. So either of these two, I would have definitely picked up if not for the corporate setting.
I have to admit, the second one sounds really interesting, and I would love to read that if you can, continue the series and put it in a different book and setting.
Oh, but this challenge is solved with this book. I have to solve some other challenge then. Okay.
Maybe take up something other than leadership. Maybe other kind of problems that people in the
Yeah,
corporate
I'll
face.
think about that. Yeah, but yeah, I know this setting is interesting. I was like, this was a very, very close second when I picked up the first one. Okay, my turn now. So, this book has a lot of reflections from your life. I want you to pick up one small joy from your life which didn't make it to this book.
I think that I have already shared. That was one recipe that I was trying to make in somebody's absence when I was alone at home, and this
Oh,
was before
outside then some non-kitchen reflection then.
um very difficult to recall, but I think oh yes, uh the one that didn't make I can definitely recall is about enjoying a chocolate by licking its wrapper. I did not include that.
It was not thinking. Oh, yes. I
And it was
like this.
there on my as a part of my hashtag series things that make me happy. Well, series. So
Okay,
yeah.
great. Okay, your turn.
Okay, so my next question to you is, if you could have characters from your previous books, any of the fiction books that you have written, the four fiction books before this, right? Yeah.
Yes.
If you could merge the two, how would you do it, and what characters from your fiction books would you have visit this particular setting and characters?
Oh, the setting remains this one only.
Yes. Or maybe you can choose a different setting also.
Okay, so yeah, maybe I'll first answer for this setting. So this is a corporate setting. So my second book, A Price to Love, my second book, my first novel was in a corporate setting. So it becomes easy. So I will call Sonia, I will call Sameep, I will call Rishabh, and the exactly same setting, and this plays out. It is like very, very natural. So that is easy. Now the second thing, since you like that setting too much, that medical one, then not all the characters, but I will definitely bring Gaurang from Till
Yeah.
Fate Do Us Part into that setting, and he would be the one who is good at his job but struggles in communication, and
Uh,
then I would have developed that. the story
I
and
can
what
see
happens.
why you chose those two settings. I can see your fiction experience in both the settings. I was about to say when you mentioned the medical setting, I was like, yeah, this is very much like the previous
Oh, but
novel that
then
we
I
read.
started writing this immediately after I finished the final draft of Till
Ah,
Fate Do Us Part.
okay,
So no
yeah,
wonder that
a
setting
lot
came
of
to me then.
hangover was coming through. Yes.
Ah, yeah, exactly. Yes. Okay, so my turn now. So if Fit Melt was to be turned into a song, which one would it be?
I think the one from V Zara, where Preeti Zinta's, it's the intro song of Preeti Zinta, where she is singing, "हम तो भाई जैसे हैं वैसे ही रहेंगे."
Ah,
अब
yes.
कुछ हो
Ah,
यार.
that goes with the flavor of
Yeah.
the book. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, your turn.
Okay, so my next question to you is, uh, let's suppose that Fitmelt was read by the characters in your book, Leading with Words. Which nugget do you think they you or the characters would use as a motivation to uh, teach a leadership concept? Or maybe you can include a nugget that it's not there in the book and have it, give it a quirky twist and make it
Something
one
happened.
of your.
Oh, I think did the electricity go off in your part of the world? I can't see you now.
Oh my God. I don't know how to resolve this because I'm at a hotel right now. So oh yes, the generator is ringing.
You're back. Okay, great.
Yes.
Good. Okay, so now I will pick a nugget from
Halloween
this
vibes.
book
I don't know.
only.
I'm just going to interrupt you. This is the perfect Halloween vibes. And happy
Oh,
Halloween to
yes,
everyone.
today is Halloween. Yeah, right.
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, I will actually pick up the nugget from the book, which is emails. So this is the one that I will choose. Not so much like
Okay.
the word email, but the description that you have put there, the good kind, acceptance letters, compliments, or surprise discounts. So this is the reason. So this is what I will pick. And the reason is like, as leaders, we all think that the more knowledgeable, the more experienced we are, the more we show our superiority, we will get, people will obey us, they will listen to us, we will be able to get the work done. But the thing is, people will do the work for you when you make them feel valued, when you make them feel how great they are, not how great you are. So that's the reason I'll pick this nugget. Okay. Hmm. Okay.
Okay.
So
Your
my turn. Smita as a fiction writer or Smita as a non-fiction author? Pick your favorite. Why?
see, it this has nothing to do with your proficiency in either of the genres. This has to do with my preference as a reader. So I'm always going to pick fiction.
Okay. And is it just because like only the reader
But
preference, as
I
you said, or is there
will
some other
pick
factor going behind it?
no, it's pure as a reader.
Okay. Great.
Hello?
Your turn.
Yeah.
The
Okay.
last question.
So my next question to you get a chance to mesh up both of my books, come up with a quirky title of your own. How would you name the book, and what do you think the contents of the book will be?
Oh, both are books. So let me just bring the book here so I can actually merge them when I
Yes.
speak. So, leaving while the ice cream is melting. That's what I will essentially call the book. And it will be all about how a leader, it will still have a storytelling format. It will be all about how a leader was going all after the big goals and that one big aspiration, that one big dream, and as a result he is missing out on the small things in life and at work, and some of these reflections will come, and then that realization, and somebody else will come to make, there will be other characters to make them realize. So some of the frameworks from the book will, again, the book is not frameworks, it's all conversations. So some of the conversations, the context will change and it will come. So that's how it will be. Hmm.
Oh wow. I would love to read this book. If you ever write it, please. This is your conception. This is your starting point. I've given
So
you an
I
idea.
still have yeah, on the spot only. You put me on a spot. Oh, again, the light. You are really giving
Yeah.
real Halloween vibes there, Manali.
Halloween vibes,
But
I'm sorry.
my last
Yes.
question for you. Happiness for
Hmm.
me is when? Complete the sentence.
Happiness for me is when I am able to see through an idea that has, been stuck in my head, or maybe even a spontaneous idea or something that has been on my mind for a while.
Oh,
When I see it through, that's the biggest happiness for me.
great. I
Yes.
agree with
So,
that
in that
definition.
a journey of it melt itself, as I was mentioning earlier, yeah, and the journey of Fitmelt itself has been very inducing for me, very satisfactory for me because I gave up on it. It took 5 years to happen. So it's a very, very happy moment for me when the book came out and that it is doing so well.
Yeah, I know. And I am, I am not surprised the book is doing so well. All your books do that because, there is such, like, I can say such innovation and creativity that you bring to all your projects. So, no doubt that it is doing as well. Okay, so I remember from last year we go into the bingo segment. May I just request you to cut it shorter than usual because one, your video is breaking a little also. Second, I think we've taken a lot of time interacting also. So maybe just two, three things and then we wrap it up if you don't mind.
Yes, so this is the Fitmelt bingo, and I'm just going to read out a few nuggets from the book itself, and you just have to answer yes or no. Okay, I'm going to pick out five of them. The first one: witnessed a perfect sunset in the last 7 days.
No, not a sunset.
No.
Sunrise, yes, not a sunset. Yeah.
Okay, I see. You are a morning person. That's why.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Next one. Nailed a witty comeback at the right time.
Oh, yes. I did it here itself, isn't it? So, yeah.
Lovely. Next one. Went on a peaceful walk alone.
Not alone. I did go for a peaceful walk, but not alone. Yeah.
Okay. Next one. Took a shower without adjusting the knobs in the past week.
Can you read that again? I didn't get it.
Yeah. Took a shower without adjusting the knobs in the past week.
Oh, I think this entire week till now it's been like that. So,
Wow, you lucky woman. Okay. Next one. Heard a song that you loved.
can you come again? What did I forgot that I loved?
You heard a song that you forgot that you loved.
Oh, yes, I did.
Yeah. Okay. Lovely. Spotted a rainbow in the past year.
I did. Yes. Multiple times,
Okay,
in fact.
awesome.
So I'm lucky.
Okay, and the last one. Gazed at the moon in silence.
Yes, I did.
Okay, so quite a few yeses.
Oh,
So
Karwa
yes,
Chauth came
congratulations.
this month, Manali only, right? So moon
Ah,
gazing
yes.
question is like pretty recent. I was gazing, I was waiting, and after it came, I was like, you came, so yes.
Okay, let's ask another one then. Let's make it a little difficult for you. Found an old note or photo.
I did this week itself.
So yeah, awesome. Yeah, most of us are living the fit melt way of life. Congratulations.
I would like to think
And
so. Yes. Yeah. Okay. So I think
that
we are
brings us to
good.
the end.
Thank you
Yeah.
for having me on your author collaborative again. I always think, every year when I write and I always think maybe this year Manali will say, Smita, you have come too many times. I'm not going to call you again now. So, but thank you
No,
for not
that
saying
won't
that
happen.
now.
That's never going to happen. And I always look forward to your books. Even your non-fiction I enjoyed. And before I let you go, I have to ask before, because I enjoy having you on the show so many times. And always, the conversations I have with you are always pleasant and enjoyable. So when are you coming up with the next book so I can have you again?
Oh, when is the next book? I don't know. I have written something, it's in consideration. So there are, once I have written, once it's sent, there are other factors that come into view. So yeah, hopefully if everything goes fine, maybe next year itself.
Okay. Oh, great. Looking forward to it. All the best. And looking forward to having you again. Bye. Have a great weekend.
You too, Manali. Thank you for having me. Take care. Bye bye.
Bye.